We are live once again, folks. Welcome. I'm Rob McNamara coming at you again. We're talking golf, unscripted, unfiltered, and uncensored for episode number 6. Those of you that are collecting these at home, wipe the dust off these things, folks. You might learn something. If nothing else, we'll have a good time out here. I'm here with my able golf star director of instruction, Scott Adland. Say hello, Scotty A.
Hey guys.
Co-producing this show with Stephanie, our assistant director of communications. So this is being filmed for a live audience, and it's better than being filmed in front of a dead audience. I do want you to know that. Can you imagine if they called it Facebook dead? I'm not watching that. Anyway, we got a chance of having a little fun here today. What is our game plan today? Well, we're going to get into that in a second. I'm going to talk a little bit about the Corona pounds that I have. I'm trying to shed the CPs, the Corona pounds. Things are definitely a little strange, you being a golf consultant. Well, thank you for your attention to helping us here today. So, he has requested, Jeff's a very good player, played golf at UNC. We won't hold that against him. Jeff, being a non-resident member, we wanted to honor our request. He had a good idea. Why don't we focus on shots that are 50 to 100 yards? So that's what we're doing here today. We're going to focus on that 50 to 100 yard shot. And we're going to talk a little bit about what we do to make that shot work. So, you know, you get into that zone, a lot of people are scared to death of this distance. And, you know, I'm making the assumption that that 50 to 100 yard shot is a partial shot. So, depending upon your ability, this shot could be 30 to 60 yards. This shot could be 20 to 50 yards. It's that shot that's not a chip or a pitch, but it's not your full swing.
I call it wedging. I do. I call it wedging. It's
wedging, well, I've always called it like a knockdown shot or a three-quarter shot. Generally speaking, Scott, when I played this shot, I was trying to take the ball and bring the ball flight down, but the golf ball having changed, not spinning as much, we still need to flight it a little bit more. So I would say that that shot is a little bit just control the distance. It's really controlling the distance shot. So you have to decide, how do you want to control the distance? And the way I believe is that you want to take power away at the setup. So if you think about your setup, I mean, kind of Captain Obvious, but when you set up to hit a full shot, you have your stance at your full width, you're holding the golf club on the very end of the golf club. Those are potential power sources. The shaft length is a power source. The stance width gives you a potential to make a bigger golf swing. That's a power source. So I want to try to take as many power sources away at setup as I possibly can. So how do I do that? I want to maybe grip down. If I can grip down a half an inch or an inch, I'm going to take away power potential. If I narrow my stance down, I'm going to take away power potential. I don't want the burden being 100% on me trying to gauge the hit, right, or gear it down with my swing. There's going to be some of that, but that burden needs to be split up between where I start out with my potential energy right from the beginning. So that's one of the things that I'm going to try to really focus on is my setup, and then start to let the golf swing happen. So let me just hit a couple and show you what it looks like to hit a couple. So with doing so, I'm going to grip down a half inch. I'm going to narrow my stance up. That ball went about 75 or 80 yards.
And what's stock for this Club Pro? So if you hit this, your normal stock full swing, how far are we talking with that club?
I can hit this close to 90 yards.
Okay, all right.
So just that shot right there was taking about 15 yards off of the normal distance by just gripping down, narrowing my stance. And so by narrowing my stance, I've already limited the amount of the size of my golf swing. How much can I turn? How much energy can I create?
Yeah, the height hasn't really changed, has it?
It's still getting up in the air. You know, that's a pervasive thing that I've been working on, trying to release the club a little differently. Again, we talked in previous episodes about how I tend to kind of
get narrow,
get
a little
jammed
bit, yeah.
up, and maybe that used to work better with a ball that spun more, where I could hit down on it more and get the ball to spin more. In the modern golf ball, not spinning as much, you need to release the club a little differently, and I'm working on that. My divots are still too deep.
Okay.
I have too much meatloaf. I'm trying to get to some prosciutto ham. At a minimum, I want some country sliced bacon.
Well, that sounds good.
You know, I mean, hey, we can always talk about eating out here. You know, I'm telling you, believe me, every meal I have, I'm thinking, what am I going to have in the next meal? Are you like that, where you'll sit there and you'll be enjoying your meal, and I'm thinking, well, what am I going to have on the next meal? It's like, I haven't even finished this one. I mean, how often have I been doing that? Maybe my whole life. You think I've lost a little weight? Somebody hit me in the mouth. Anyway, I'm going to be losing that weight, I promise. Let's get back on this shot. So I'm going to take away the power.
Okay.
Put that ball in the right place. I grip down a little bit more on this one. Let's see where this one goes. So that's about 5 yards less. Just that little bit. So controlling about 5 yards.
So yeah, you're just taking the speed away from the golf ball a little bit more, so it's obviously not traveling as fast. So is that your one option that you have? You grip down, you narrow your stance. Do you feel anything different with the length of your swing, or do you just say, no, I control setup, I don't worry about the swing part of it?
So setup has so much to do with this. That's maybe the most important thing. There have been books and gurus out there that talk about, well, take the club to 8 o'clock or 9 o'clock or 10 o'clock or 11 o'clock, and they get the player so much focused on where their backswing goes.
Positions, right?
And I mean, if I had to do that, honestly, that seems to me like I'm painting by, you know, like when I was a little kid. I can't paint for anything. I have a good friend that can paint up the storm, but I can't paint. And that, they're free willing, right? Paint up the storm. If I had to go and try to connect the dots, I couldn't do it.
Okay.
No chance can I play golf that way. I want to be an artist out here. I don't want to be thinking about my backswing. I want to be thinking about my forward swing. My attention is, where do I want to end up?
Okay. All right.
And that will control my trajectory, and it will control my distance. All right, so let's just say, for argument's sake, that I am going to just focus on my follow through this time. Let's just focus on where I end up. And I'm going to end up a little lower this time. Well, I'm not going to follow through as much. Let's see what happens to the distance. See, that's another 10 yards shorter just by controlling where I finished.
Also went lower. Went a little lower, yeah.
It goes lower. When I follow through with less, I'll do it even less than that one. Let's just see where this one goes. That one went about 60 yards, 65 yards.
I agree with that.
That went like 15 yards. That's like 50 yards. 45, 50 right there.
So just by changing, so obviously you got your stock shot, you've got your grip down, narrow stance, and then you've also got your, looks like 1 to 2 different finishes. Now you got, what, 4 distances with one club. That's pretty cool.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And here's the beauty of this. So I can kind of play around and master one club at a time. And that's how I would practice this. I would go out there and just start playing with your distance control by having different follow-through positions. There was what's the famous saying? You want to eliminate the negative and accentuate the positive.
Correct.
The golf swing, the negative part of the golf swing is the backward swing. Mm-hmm. The forward swing is the positive part of the golf swing. So that's where my attention is as a golfer. As somebody that plays golf. I'm not a scientist, all right? Clearly, those of you that know me know that, like Captain Obvious, right? So let's just have this thing focus as a golfer. Where do I want to end up? Now, I'm going to try to do the exact same swing that I just did on that last one.
Okay.
That was the one that went about 50, 55 yards, something like that.
So what lofts on this club that you're hitting right now?
So that was a 52.
Yeah.
I mean, a 58. This is a 52.
Got it.
So just so people can see this, can you see the angle of that? That's the 52. Now let's just see the 58.
I'm no genius, but that looks like about 6 degrees.
I mean,
You're no scientist?
Sure.
Can you see the difference in those two?
It's about 6 degrees. I love it.
I got that from my buddy Ricky Tuma. That's my friend who's the golf pro up at Burning Tree. He's one of my favorite people in life. And Ricky can play. Ricky can golf his ball big time. Hits it so straight. I mean, the guy can hit it down the cosmetic aisle of a CVS. Okay, I mean, so straight. Anyway, he showed me how to present that. So this is 52 degrees. Let's get back to that small follow through. ADD almost had me, but I got back on board, baby. Okay. Control the follow through.
There you go.
And that ball right there was hit. I mean, so crisp. That went about 70 yards, 75 yards. And I think I followed through a hair more on that one than the one before.
Yeah, you did. You did a little.
But get an idea. Now let's just say, for argument's sake, we're still in springtime. The wind can be blowing. We've had a few days here lately where the wind is howling.
Yep.
So the last thing on earth you want to be doing when the wind is really blowing is to make a big full swing and hit that ball up in the air with all that spin on it. Remember this line: swing easy when it's breezy. Swing easy when it's breezy. So take more loft and control your follow through, and watch what this one does. Now that baby right there, that's penetrating in the wind, but it's hit crisply.
That's an Aussie ball flight right there.
That's an Aussie ball flight. I got that when I played the Aussie tour. Oh my goodness, was that fun. The glory days.
Yeah.
I enjoyed that down there, Scotty A. What a great country.
That's a shot you need around New South Wales right there.
Huh?
That low little shot around New South Wales Golf Club.
Whew. I played New South Wales Golf Club. It was 44 degrees Celsius.
About 120.
I played 36 holes. I know people that know me will not believe this. I enjoyed that golf course so much. I played by myself. I carried my own clubs. I was the only person to play golf that whole day. It was that hot.
Was it windy?
It was just hot.
Was it okay?
It was a little windy. It was like having a blow dryer on you. Hot. See that little follow through right there?
Yeah.
Okay, that's just a 52. Now really gearing that thing down. Now let's just really gear a pitching wedge down.
Okay.
And just see what happens here. So if I make that same golf swing with a pitching wedge, and this club has, 46 degrees aloft?
Yeah.
So I've gone 58,
52, 46,
46.
Yep.
Look how much lower it is.
Okay.
Okay? Now, same golf swing.
Wow.
That ball flew right at 100 yards in the air. Just by changing the loft, the club shaft. Are these clubs? I don't even know this. Are these clubs the same length? I just got these out of the rental set.
Yeah, it looks like the wedges are, but
Half
the
inch
pitching
longer.
wedge is a little longer. Yeah.
So basically, just an extra half inch. Even though I'm ripping down a half inch on this, it's still a little bit longer than the last one. All right. So that's controlling it the best way to control that distance. Now you say, okay, Rob, what do I do when I need to control the distance yet still hit it up in the air?
Ooh, here you go.
Now we're trying to show you a little light game. So we're going to go back to the 58 degree club.
So this would be a shot that wasn't quite a full stock distance, but a front flag maybe.
Front flag.
Yeah,
You got to
okay.
get the ball up in the air.
Yep.
You got to have it kind of coming in with some trajectory on your side. And I got to release it a little bit different.
So you've just ripped driver off 8 here at Farmington's in that front right corner. That's a tough shot right there.
Well, again, we've talked about this before. What am I trying to do? I am trying not to jam myself up.
Okay.
So I'm trying to maintain my width. And for you engineers, I want to maintain my radius. I don't want my hands jamming up in here close to me. I want to feel like I'm releasing. That I'm letting the golf club turn the corner. Right? The golf club has got to turn the corner and go around the circle, the club head. I don't want to jam that club right into me, okay? Y'all see what I'm talking about? All right. So I'm going to release this, and we're going to hit it up in the air a little bit more, but still control the follow through. So
Wow.
you'll see that the golf club released, even though my hands didn't really, my arms didn't swing that much further that time. See how much higher that ball went?
Had a little bit of stopping power. I like that.
And it went considerably shorter.
Yeah.
When you do that, you are going to lose distance.
Because you're adding more loft for the golf club.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. Thank you. See how much higher that is?
Wow.
That's only about 55 yards.
That sounds like
just how I'm letting the golf club go through impact. I'm letting the golf club get back to square to kick the ball up in the air.
so.
I'm not de-lofting it.
Looking at, obviously, I got the advantage of looking down the range and seeing where these are landing. You know, you hit 3 different clubs there, and some of those balls landed around the same distance. Like they had completely different trajectories on them, but they all landed around the same. So, what's your deciding factor with selecting the shot? Is it all just based on pin position? I mean, so if you've got a back flag, you may play the low one that gets back there. If you've got a front flag, you'll go to that high option. And then if you've got a middle flag, you might play your 52. Do you let the flag position dictate what you're going to play, the shot?
Remember this. This is always my belief. Always look at how the golf ball sits on the ground.
Okay.
How the golf ball sits on the ground is the trump card. I look at that before I look at distance.
Okay.
If you think about that, you're on a very long par 5 hole.
Yep.
Just imagine this. You're on a very long par 5, and you've hit it over in the high rough. You're 350 yards away from the green for your next shot. Nothing is in the way, but the ball is sitting down in grass that's really high, down in the bottom.
Buried.
Yep. What's more important now, the yardage or how the ball's sitting in the ground?
Obviously, how the ball's sitting.
I literally had a young lady member here, Leah Goswell. She just asked me, she goes, will you talk about how to get out of the rough? So I'll just segue for Leah.
Yep.
Love Leah. Great volunteer with the LGA. Love that. Don't worry about the yardage. Worry about how you can make contact with the ball. So that's a situation in the rough. Well, guess what? That system still holds true right here.
On this shot.
On this shot. Now, I don't know how good our camera work is, but that ball's sitting nicely. I'll put this ball down in a little rut. I'm going to have to play 2 different shots. If this ball's sitting up nicely,
You can do what you want.
I can hit any shot I want.
Right.
And in fact, you're almost more inclined to want to kick it up in the air a little bit. When that ball's sitting down, you don't have that shot.
Right.
If you do, you better be a lot better than me. I'm just a good old country boy shirt salesman. Come on in the golf shop and buy yourself a shirt or 2. We won't stop you.
Or push carts. We've got a few of those.
Anyway, so when I have a ball sitting poorly on the ground, I'm going to go with the low one. I might even, when it's sitting, I'll stand on it a little bit. Okay? That's 218 pounds. I'll put it a little further back in my stance. And I had to kind of hack that out of that tough lie right there.
Yeah.
I took a more lofted club
Yeah.
because I knew I was putting the ball back in my stance. That means I de-lofted it, and I hit down on it.
It's interesting, even though looking down the range here, we've had a lot of rain the past couple of days. That ball kicked forward when it landed. It didn't stop like the other. So the lie is enabling how much spin and control you can actually have on the golf ball.
Exactly.
So this
I'll release this one. Totally different divot.
Land in the same spot.
They just get there different ways.
Right.
The trump card in all golf shots, folks, if you're playing golf, just take this to the bank. How does the ball sit on the ground? Worry about that before you worry about the distance. Okay? Then what do you worry about? All right, well, if we're going to actually land this ball on the green, or whatever we're going to land it on, is it firm or is it soft? Are we going uphill or downhill? Are we going downwind or into the wind?
Where's the best place to putt from?
Correct. All of those things go into your calculation for club selection. Develop a system in your head where you can quantify that as fast as you can. Where you're not out there all day holding up play, but learn to create a club selection, shot selection routine. A routine that you get into that, for me, I always try to get it to a math number. This shot is going to play like an 80-yard shot. It might be 70 yards. It's a little uphill, it's into the wind, ground's really soft, whatever. It could be the opposite.
Right.
Firm, downwind, downhill, all of that's going to affect what the real number is. So that's how we play those shots.
Yeah, it's interesting you mentioned that. Like, so you may pull out your rangefinder and shoot 100 yards, but you know, based on the conditions, you only have to hit it 90 yards because it's going to kick forward 5, and the best spot to be is 15 feet under the flagstick than landing at pin high and having that 15, 20 footer down the hill. So it's interesting how I find a lot of our golfers, and I haven't come across this with tour players that I've coached, is they'll shoot the flagstick, oh, it's 122. I said, well, yeah, that's the playing distance, but where do you actually want to finish? Like, where's the best spot to putt from? And I know when I played Royal Melbourne a couple of times back in Australia, like super quick greens, it's better to have a 10-footer up the hill than a 4-footer down the hill. It's just the way it is. So it's interesting how all this strategic planning comes into this on how you go about your business around the golf course. So it's interesting to say you read the lie first, but then secondly, you're reading, okay, well, what's the green going to do and where's the best spot to attack from? I always say, what's your percentage play? Where are you going to make the best score possible? And it's funny how we just get too fixated sometimes on flagstick.
So we sell a lot of the yardage devices. We recommend the Precision Pro, which is owned by a former assistant of ours, Clay Hood. Throw in a little plug for Clay Hood, and we will take advertising dollars. We would do where we'll put it in the right location and show you, sponsored by Precision Pro, but we don't have any sponsors right now. We're working on it. Anyway, the yardage device. Let's get back into that. It can be a curse, and it can be a helper. So what I would say, how do you practice these shots? Go out and play around with developing your best little partial, 3/4, knockdown, wind shot, half shot, 3/4 shot, whatever you want to call it in your mind. Go out there and just figure out what that is for you with a club. Start out with your sand wedge. Watch how far the ball goes. Then get your little yardage thing out and shoot it. Say, okay, that ball is flying 60 yards in the air. Now say, all right, I want to hit it 5 yards less. What do you have to do to make it go 5 yards less? Control your follow through. See how that goes. Now hit it 5 yards less than that. See what you have to do to make that happen. Maybe grip down a little bit more. Maybe narrow your stance a little bit more. Now make it go 45 yards. Now you're 5 yards less of that. Now you start playing golf. Then go back and grab your 52-degree wedge and go through the same process. All the while taking your little gun for you and shoot the yardage. And you know exactly how far that ball is carrying in the air. How far it carries in the air helps you know how to play your best golf. There you go, folks. I can only give you so much. I can lead you to the water, but I don't have to make you drink. That's up to you. The water is flowing, baby. Thank you so much for listening. Don't worry about the mule dying. Just keep loading the wagon. That's going to be my advice to you. Don't worry about the mule dying. You just keep loading the wagon. Pray for patience. Pray for this all to get going away. And hey, you know what? Keep your spirits up, and we'll keep coming at you every Tuesday and Friday. On Tuesday, we are going to do 30-minute warm-up session. How do you warm up? I've got a funny feeling we're going to be able to start using the warm-up range at some point in the near distant future, and we are going to be able to start hitting some golf balls. So I'm going to give you a 30-minute routine of how to use the practice range for some of you that have not done it since maybe last fall. So we look forward to having you out here. Keep coming out to play. We're putting so many people out on the golf course. Thank you so much, and we'll see you Tuesday.